Alright, something different here. Here's one mandrel. These four will expand out. So that one will go up, that one will go that way, so forth. It'll hold one of them coils. This piece of steel right here, you'll see only one, just this one has it, none of the rest do. But this piece of steel helps stop the coil from walking out this way. You have a very bad day. Fun fact, piece of poly, it's sheet metal with poly coating. If you ever get a culvert pipe and it has a little piece of plastic like this on the inside, as you can see, there's the seam, and within maybe a foot, give or take, you'll see that. That's the inside of the coil at the very end. And I'll show you over here. Here's the end of the coil. You wrap around, bam. There's that plastic sleeve. This plastic sleeve inside is the ticket that tells the heat and the weight and some other information. But this is the workings on what turns the mandrel. It'll go up through to a press wheel. The press wheel clamps the sheet, pushes it through here, and then it'll bring it to here. We line up the new sheet with the old sheet. These will go down, but before we drop them, we make sure they're lined up perfect, straight and flush. Then we clamp them, weld it together. This piece used to do perforated piping, which is your piping with holes. We no longer use that feature. And I go through here to this table. If you hit the red button, it takes it to this side, which is outboard, which is the outer wall where all the levers are. Coming this way is outboard. Going that way to gearbox is inboard. That green box there, there's quite a few of them, I forget exactly how many, are gearboxes. So that's gearbox, this is outboard. Each one of these wheels will turn a set of dies, which is there. And you see, sheet's flat, starts to get a little bow. Comes in, a little more. And this is putting corrugation in. As you can see, corrugation starts, slowly folding the edges over. That one has 4 dies, as you can see. Each one has another die added to it. And you can see the corrugation starting. Then by the time it gets here, you see it's starting to get a lip on the side, which comes to here. Both sides will be that way. By the time it gets here, this side will be folded up. Mind you, this is outboard side. Inboard side, which is there, will be folded down. It'll come through. This roller don't get used, just sits there. That's for thicker material. Goes through this section, which is known as mandrel. Outboard side goes through, and then as that side goes through the mandrel, does the spiral. This is your inboard side, which latches into the outboard. This is a jack right here. It keeps steady pressure going up, which in return will fold this over that way. This will go and fold that way, which will then lock the two. And if you look, here's the die for the jack. Now remember what that looks like. If you look, that's side control. See how the roller is different? This one will fold this lip that way. The jack holds the outboard lip that way, which makes the lock. When that is complete, the lock will look like this spot here. When made properly, you'll feel a little bit of a different groove right here compared to the rest of the corrugation. Oh. This side of the mandrel is known as the buttress, which by adjusting this in or coming out or going in will actually adjust the actual diameter of the pipe. Bringing it out will allow the pipe to get bigger. Bringing it in will roll it faster, which will shrink it. When you bring that sheet through the center of this wheel, you got to line it up to this groove right here, to that corrugation for each one of these. So you may have to knock all these that way or that way, and you might have to turn them from here to here to here depending on your corrugation. That's the saw. That is a noisy ass sucker. But you can see what the teeth look like. But that's how it would look. A 30-inch pipe, the buttress, well, the side control will set at 18, and bring the buttress into, let me get a light, to roundabouts 31, and that will make it a 30-inch pipe. Now granted, as you're running, you might have to bring the buttress out or in a little bit depending on if it's trying to grow or shrink. That arm and that arm you definitely want to have on the pipe at all times, because when that saw engages, it'll push that pipe straight up. Then you got a mess. That's a little, and these are the gearboxes, as you can see. 1, 2. There's 11 of them. Fun fact, this machine is 1971. It's a PRD and has what's known as an air clutch, which is in here. It's activated by air. This is considered the D5 machine. Now, when it's in its better day, this would make the perforated pipe. If you need to run perforated, you can do it with this. This part I explained, it used to clamp it. This machine here would actually weld it. So you'd bring it in, line it up, clamp it, work the control panel from here, and that machine would weld it, and you wouldn't have to touch it. Right, you got your settings to dial it in and make adjustments. This part was a shear. It would cut the sheet if needed. This here, you can push the sheet that way or bring it this way, depending on what you had to do to get lined up. The roller that is right there and right there is a pinch roller. It comes down, instead of going perfectly straight, it comes down at an angle. So this side will be lower than that side, which in regards pinches the sheet and it'll pull it up through. But this is from 1970, and from the research I have done and talking with the owner, there was only 5 of these machines built. And from what we're gathering, this is actually the last one and the only one left in operating order. That's a big long sucker. That coil of polycoat is 19,000 pounds, almost 20,000 heavy. But this is how culvert piping is made